Have you done research on the industrial side of the story that you're telling about individualization, which is to say how Pandora, Spotify, et cetera, have found that their technologies and graphical interfaces and thumbs have changed as more and more users have the interests that you have. In other words, it used to be that Spotify was for the music geeks who wanted to listen to records, the whole thing, they just didn't want to carry it around. But now Spotify seems to be mimicking Pandora in ways of having all these workouts and chill and relax.
Yeah, playlists for everything.
And do you have any idea of, I mean, it's kind of industrial trade secrets of how many thumbs and users and tracks are going to those well, mood workouts or mood playlists rather than the traditional Spotify approach, which was album-oriented, or the traditional Pandora approach was using the Music Genome Project to type in a seed and then get more things like it.
I don't have the inside information, but I do look at. There's a designer named Paul Lemire who's a designer for Spotify, and he keeps a blog, and that's my best source of information about Spotify. But you know, the other thing about this that's so interesting is there was a piece in the New York Times a couple of months ago with one of the CEOs of Spotify saying, we're going to get rid of genre altogether. We don't need a genre anymore because we don't need to actually, you know, I mean, what he didn't say is that we don't need to understand music in any kind of historical context or context of aesthetic innovation or stylistic integrity or any kind, you know, those kinds of things. That essentially what we need are playlists. So what I got from that article in the interview with him, which I read, is that Spotify is moving inexorably in that direction, but I don't have specific numbers. No.
Could I just? Oh no, I'm not allowed to. I just moving in the same direction as labeling of mood music, library music, stock music, which will use genre labels, but just as a sub-label for all the other labels. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Nancy. I really enjoyed your talk.
Thank you.
My point was, I think I understood what you said by saying that discovery, music discovery, is shifting towards context music, which is kind of a huge difference because in my understanding of Pandora, which I can't use in French, Spotify has context music, which is like after-work music playlists and stuff like that. And Pandora is a kind of radio which doesn't let you choose what you're gonna listen to next. So this is kind of a discovery because discovery is kind of work. I mean, you have to listen to something that is new. So you have to make an effort for this. In contrary of what you say, being like, this is not the right track for this moment for me. So it's not discovery at all.
That's right.
In my opinion. So
that's right. Yeah.
Are you saying that discovery is disappearing and that everybody is going to context music, or am I learned to want to keep discovery alive?
Yeah, I think, no, I obviously not, and none of these practices are universal, right? And the technology doesn't structure or determine our experience, absolutely, right? The focus groups were interesting for me because I wanted to see what are people who, who are coming up with this experience, what is, whose full experience of music is digital and is online. What does discovery look like for them? Now, there was a difference between, for instance, we did, which I didn't have time to talk about, but we did interview people and they're, closer to like 25 to 30. And there was actually a big difference between them and the university students, although not as big as I thought there would be. But at least for those folks, there's a memory of something else, right? There's a memory that it didn't used to look like this, that there were opportunities to be surprised, You know, I mean, and what's so fascinating for me is that being surprised now is a problem. People experience it as it's unsettling, it's wrong, you know. So, you know, again, I don't. Certainly on the basis of, you know, interviewing 40 people, I couldn't possibly make those kind of grand claims. But you know, I do think that it's, you know, it is an experience of digital natives essentially. So
they fear the unknown. They fear the unknown.
They fear the unknown. I mean, even, you know, even the idea with the first quote that I had is that, you know, what if I disagree with someone? What if I disagree with the critic? You know, I mean, like that. So this, you know, for me, the whole idea of the aesthetic is kind of an encounter with something that's different. To be surprised, you know, to be sort of open to things is an experience that's certainly not shut down, you know, in any absolute sense. But the, you know, it does seem that the listening experience is being structured and the discovery experience is being structured quite differently in ways that make that much harder to achieve. So, thanks for your question.
Yeah, did I get you right? Just to continue with this, when you said that due to the lack of future, no jobs available, no clear roles, nothing being clear or given at all. Have you put that into also the context of you know, the pseudo security of university league table systems, and, you know, knowing exactly that this school is better than that school according to statistical criteria that have no kind of empirical meaning? Is this all part of the same syndrome, do you think?
I mean, I do think it's interesting the number of ways that we're, I mean, you know, in a world that does seem to be offering people less and less in terms of security, that, you know, we certainly, anything that's sort of ranked or quantified, you know, provides a kind of comfort. So I hadn't made the connection particularly with university tables, but sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think it does, but that's beside the point. Right, and more questions, folks. N'y a-t-il pas plus de questions?